All right, peace, brothers and sisters. I want to talk about something, real quick. Probably be a minute or whatever. I want to talk about the difference between Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. 1 second. Because I was on Bushido boxing platform. I think it was Saturday or something like that. I'm not really for sure what day it was. I know it was during the weekend. But we was talking about Virgil Ortiz's performance, right? Matter of fact, let's put it on Virgil real quick. Then we gonna get into Boost Ennis, after the fact, right? So they was talking about Virgil Ortiz and how Virgil Ortiz didn't look pretty good in his last outing against a guy that was 20 something wins with only two knockouts. And they feel like he should have got him out of there real early. And, a lot of people, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because one guy in particular, YSM Sports or whatever, he got a nice channel. But I noticed that he had criticized Virgil Ortiz, not so much criticized him. I could say he criticized him, and to me, he tried to tell his future before we can actually see what his future is. And I think a lot of people, and I know that I was guilty of that too. When a person, we're just talking about boxing, when a boxer in his early stages of his career, he may have some fights where he may struggle. It's because a lot of fighters, even though they're raw and they may possess good boxing skills, or they may possess boxing skills and knockout skills, or they just may be knockout people. As you can see, he's 19-0 with 19 knockouts. But when a person has a bad fight, then we automatically say that they're not ready for the big leagues, and we don't even know the whole situation behind why they may struggle against individuals. So when YSM said that, he was saying that basically, I forget exactly what he was saying, but I remember him saying some to the extent that when I look at Virgil Ortiz, he's not ready yet. You know what I'm saying? He's not ready for the big leagues. If he went in there against a top fighter, he's going to get crushed. He's gonna get rolled over. And my response to that, it wasn't even really a response. I just asked, I said, well, Bruce Ennis, he hasn't even been in there with a quality opponent yet either. You know what I'm saying? So how do we know that Bruce Ennis is ready for the big leagues? Well, I know that he's ready for this is why I'm saying that I know he's ready for the big leagues is because I'm watching him face a lot of opponents, and he's getting them out of there in 2 and 3 rounds. But see, that's not always a good judge when you looking at a fighter, is because you got to look at boxing as you got to look at boxing like a person that's losing weight. When he loses weight, you have to put him on he has to be put on a regimen on how to eat properly. So his journey of eating properly, he's going to struggle with certain things. Sometimes he's going to have good days, and sometimes he's going to have bad days. Then when he's uh, on the process of losing weight, he's going to come to the gym on certain days, and some days he's not going to come to the gym, right? So it's a struggle there. But see, the one that endured to the end, see, that's the one that's going to be left standing. So why did I use that scenario? See, we can't judge an individual just because he may have one or two fights where he may struggle. Where he struggled against Maurice Hooker. He struggled against this last guy, McKinson or whatever his name is. So I can see that he's going to have problems with other people, but that's not always the case. This is why I brought up the scenario of Riddick Bowe. He's a prime example, Riddick Bowe, because when Riddick Bowe started out, Riddick Bowe used to be a sparring partner, right? But he went to the Olympics. I think he won like a silver medal or a bronze medal or something like that. But Riddick Bowe was taunted as uh, a very good prospect, but he had flaws. See, one of the major flaws is that he had was that they didn't know that if he was they didn't know that he was really ready for the big leagues. He had all the intangibles. He can fight on the inside, he can box on the outside, right? He can do all these things. But he had a weight problem, and he wasn't the trainers like Lou Duva and all these big guys, they say that his problem is that he wasn't really focused, right? So they, but he still was beating a lot of good fighters. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't until he got his opportunity against Evander Holyfield where he showed the whole world and himself that he was ready. See, he was ready because back then they didn't have social media like that. Wasn't no YouTube and nothing like that. See, so but he still heard all these different criticisms because I can bet you a bottom dollar that the people that talked about him in the public, they talked to him in private and saying that, look, guy, you good, you get it all, but you not focused. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people didn't really want to fool with him that much because those were his criticisms. But what happened? He continued to do the work. And as a result, he became what you would call, actually, Riddick Bowe became a two-time world champion. You know what I'm saying? Now, we may argue and stuff like that in terms of was he ever really serious with boxing? But I'm saying when he won that title against Evander Holyfield, he was ready. See, the man came into training camp. After training camp, he came down to 235 pounds. See, he was ready. And why am I using him as an example? That's the same thing with Virgil Ortiz. See, we don't know what's in a person's heart when he's put to the test. And when I'm looking at Virgil Ortiz and I'm looking at Boots Ennis is another individual. He's a phenomenal talent. As they have people like to say he can fight off the back foot, he can do everything in there. The boy can't do no wrong. But you know what it is? Since we're criticizing, Boots Boots Ennis has never been in the ring with a person that can test him. And see, boxing is different than it was back in the 90s, the 80s, and the 70s, and down forward. Well, why do you say that? Because when you a prospect, when you 19-0 or 27-0 with 25 knockouts, at some point you're going to be tested by a top fighter. And when I look at Boots Ennis and when I look at Virgil Ortiz, when I look at their resume, Virgil Ortiz has been tested more than Boots Ennis has. Let's look at this now. Now, these are not major tests. You know what I'm saying? These are not major fighters. But when he fought against Maurice, let's look at from 2019 up into 2022, the quality of opponents that he fought, right? He fought Jesus Valdez. I can't pronounce the last name. I ain't gonna even try. Then he fought. What was his record? 23-4. Then he fought Mauricio Herrera, 24-8. Antonio Orozco, if I'm pronouncing it right, 28-1. Brad Solomon, 28-1. Samuel Vargas, 31-5. Maurice Hooker. He fought Maurice Hooker. Maurice Hooker is an individual that moved up from 140 pounds. He was a champion. Now, we understand that sometimes when you move up, a person can't carry their punch power up there. Sometimes they struggle at the big weights and stuff like that. But Maurice Hooker posed a threat towards Virgil Ortiz because he gave him, things that he's not really used to. And the reason why I'm saying that Virgil Ortiz is being pushed in a certain type of he's being pushed different from Boots Ennis is because they're putting him in there with individuals, different fighters of different styles. See, when he fought Maurice Hooker, he's probably different than Samuel Vargas. See? And then he fought Mean Machine. Maurice Hooker and the Mean Machine fight were pretty good fights. It's because when he fought against Mean Machine knocked him down 2 times and he hurt Virgil Ortiz. See, that's what I'm saying by being tested. And Virgil Ortiz passed the test. How did he pass the test? He passed the test is because when he was hurt, he got off of his butt and he arose to the occasion. See, everybody talk about, well, he don't throw his jab enough, which probably is true. He don't cut off the ring enough, which is probably true. But let me tell you something. You can have all those intangibles. You can be a good boxer. You can cut off the ring. You can use head movement. But when you put in a situation where you have to dig down and bite on that and bite on the mouthpiece and just go out there and fight, that's what's gonna separate the man from the boys. And see, this is why I'm saying that this guy Virgil Ortiz, really, they're putting him in the fire is because he wants to be in the fire. He wants to be in the fire. See? And when you in the fire, you gonna get burned. So you gonna get burned a few times. See, a lot of people criticize fighters. Man, let me tell you something. I've been in the ring before. I done fought against professional fighters, amateur fighters, and let me tell you something. Boxing is a very tough sport. Now, boxing was a love of mine, but I didn't pursue it like I was supposed to. You know what I'm saying? But I have a lot of respect for individuals that jump in that ring. See, because fighting is a different dog. You know what I'm talking about? So when I'm looking at Virgil Ortiz and I'm looking at his team is strategically putting him in there against individuals to see what he's made of. And let me tell you something, man. He's ma- he got some balls, man. Because when he got knocked down by Mean Machine twice. And a lot of people they try to discredit Mean Machine. Mean Machine fought a very good fight against Terrence Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford didn't even have to fight him on the inside like that. See? He could have just boxed him on the outside, gave him a lot of angles, and just outpointed him. But Bud got in the mix and went to war with this guy. And he hurt Bud a couple of times too, and I believe he knocked him down. See, but see, this is what I'm saying. When you get knocked down, or you get hurt, or you're not able to do everything that you're used to doing against certain fighters, then that's what we gonna see what you are made of. See, like when he fought McKenzie, the man YSM talking about he should have got him out of there in 2 rounds. That's probably true. But see, a lot what people don't understand is that you have people, they jump in the ring. A lot of them jump in the ring. They just in there to survive. And knocking people out it's a skill. You just can't walk up to a person and knock them out. You have to set them up. See? And then a lot of times a person know that you setting them up and they don't fall for the bait. So a lot of times it can be very difficult to get a person out of there in 1 or 2 rounds if a person is not falling for the traps that that you're setting. See? So when I was watching the fight, he frustrated Virgil Ortiz because he did a lot of holding. He did a lot of things that dude wasn't used to. But see, what I like about his team is that they're putting him in there with different peoples to be able to, not so much that he can't beat those folks, but they're putting him in there with people that's going to pose a threat to him early in his career. So when he finally faced somebody of top quality, when he finally faced a top quality opponent, I believe that he's going to be more ready than who? Than Bruce Ennis is. Now let's look at Bruce Ennis. Bruce Ennis is 29-0 with 27 knockouts. When we look at this and we see Bruce Ennis fighting, Bruce Ennis is a very he's a phenomenal talent. The man can do everything. See, and uh, when we look at him, how he beats down individuals, he look like he's invincible. But let's look at the tail of his tape of his fights, right? That he's fighting individuals, and he done fought some individuals, but he fought Thomas Dolomay, Sergio Lipinets and stuff like that. Those are decent opponents, right? But Bruce Ennis has never been in there with a person that's going to pose a threat to him, that's going to make him work for his dollar. And see, this is the eye test that I'm looking at with him. See, out of 29 wins and 27 knockouts, he has never been in the ring with a gorilla. And I'm not talking about it don't have to be a gorilla from uh like a A level gorilla. It can be a C level gorilla. It can be a B level, right? But he has never been in there with a person that's gonna pose a threat to this guy. So what can happen with Boots Ennis is that he can get in the ring with somebody. Let's look at some of the B level fighters, right? Or maybe C level. Like say he get in there with somebody like um let's say he get in there with Keith Thurman. A lot of people is saying that Keith Thurman is washed up. He ain't got it no more. But let me tell you something about Keith Thurman. Keith Keith Thurman is still a dog, see? And he knows how to do what? He knows how to box. He knows how to bang. And see, if Bruce Ennis never been in there with an individual that can pose a threat to him earlier in his career, he jump in there with somebody like Keith Thurman, it's gonna pose a threat towards him. Who else? Danny Garcia. Now, Danny Garcia, I had to give Danny Garcia a lot of credit because when a lot of these guys were ducking individuals and they was making all these excuses, Danny Garcia was in the ring with people win, lose, or draw. And when I watched him fight uh what's his Jose Benavidez, I really had a appreciation and a love for the basic boxing skills that Danny Garcia possesses. Danny Garcia, at the level where he at, will pose a threat towards Bruce Ennis. And this is what I'm saying. He has never been in there with people of that caliber. So we don't even know what Bruce Ennis is made of until he steps in the ring with individuals that's gonna test his resolve. See, because a lot of these Sergio Lipinets and Thomas Dolomay and stuff like that, they're not really posing a threat towards him. See, when I look at Virgil Ortiz record, when he fought against Maurice Hooker and Mean Machine, see they pose a threat to him is because even though they lost previously and stuff like that, in the certain instances they're still hungry. See, they not just gonna lay down and allow this man to destroy them. See, and even that guy that had two knockouts, see, he wasn't gonna just lay down and let this man just walk over him. And see that's when you see what a person is made of. It's not about how good that you box in the ring. You can do all type of good things. But when a person take those things away from you, are you going to bite down and are you going to do what? Are you going to bite down and fight? See, we have saw that with Virgil Ortiz at least I would say two times out of the three last fights that he had. See, we saw him being tested by Maurice Hooker. Mean Machine. See, and he also got tested by this last guy, McKenson. If I'm pronouncing his name right, we have never seen that with Bruce Ennis. So we need to stop criticizing fighters. And I'm not saying that because Bruce Ennis has never really been tested, that don't mean that he's not the goods. I'm just saying that a lot of people they be high on another individual and then they will look down on another individual, but looking at they're not looking at the situation from a different perspective. See, like I say, when I look at Virgil Ortiz and Bruce Ennis, I think that Virgil Ortiz is being put in the fire more than Bruce Ennis. So we got to be careful when we try to um when we try to say what a person is going to do in the future, see, we don't even know what these guys is going to be in the future, because at the end of the day, it's really up to you as an individual. Are you going to bite down and overcome a lot of the scrutiny and the criticism that people has put on you as a fighter? Are you really ready yet? See, so when I'm looking at the two fighters, I would say that Virgil Ortiz is probably more ready for the prime time than Boost Ennis is, just because on paper he has been tested, and when he's been tested, a lot of times he messed up on certain things, but he still got that person out of there. We ain't never saw that with Boost Ennis. So with that being said, peace.